and then there were 4. YouTube Nation, what is up? And welcome to the championship edition of the Tailgate Talkers Podcast. You know, I don't want to brag or anything, but your boy did go 4 for 4 in the divisional round, so there is that. In all seriousness, though, it was a really entertaining divisional round weekend. I don't want to review too much, although I will say the 49ers losing, yeah, that was nice. And then you had Stroud absolutely just screwing the Texans. I mean, go back and watch. The Patriots offense did practically next to nothing. Stroud, just don't screw it up. And then it wouldn't be the NFL playoffs without the annual NFL world not knowing what is a catch and what isn't a catch. We needed that drama. And with all the drama, uncertainty, and chaos out of the way, we are down to now just 4 teams. And honestly, as sad as I am that my Eagles are not a part of it, let's be real. These were the 4 best teams all year long. I mean, right, when you look at it and you just think of the whole year in totality, you look at it, the Broncos, Patriots were clearly the 2 best teams in the AFC, and the Rams and the Seahawks were dominating in the NFC. But before we review the AFC and NFC championship games, it's that time of year again. Head coaching changes. Some of the big name coaches that were fired, John Harbaugh of the Baltimore Ravens. Now he goes to the New York Giants. And it's kind of weird because John Harbaugh kind of started as a special teams coordinator with the Eagles. And then he kind of became more of a defensive coach. And you figure the Giants, you know, with Jackson Dart and all that they'd want an offensive coach. But instead they elect to go with the big name, John Harbaugh. I can't say it's a bad decision. Now, here's the weird thing. If he brings Todd Monken, who I, as the Eagles fan, Todd Monken's one of the names I kind of want the Eagles to get as an offensive coordinator, but you would think he'd be loyal to John Harbaugh. So there's a good chance that Todd Monken stays loyal to John Harbaugh and goes to the New York Giants to be their offensive coordinator. If that's the case, it totally makes sense. And the Giants, smart move. You got Kevin Stefanski going from the Browns over to the Falcons to be the Falcons head coach. It's an interesting choice. One of the underrated moves I feel like that's happened is Jesse Minter going to be the Ravens' new head coach. Now, Jesse Minter was the Chargers defensive coordinator. And if you look at the Chargers defense, like they were top 5 in pretty much a lot of really important key areas. I mean, they were 5th in yards per game, 5th in passing yards per game. They were 3rd in interception to TD ratio and 1st in interceptions in total. They had the best defense and passer rating allowed, and Jesse Minter worked underneath John Harbaugh with the Ravens from 2017 through to 2020. And when you think about what the Ravens need right now, what's been letting them down year after year, it's the defense. Now, I know there's a lot of injuries as well. We have to take that into account. But, you know, usually Lamar Jackson, the offense has been able to score points, and the defense just can't stop anybody. Getting a defensive-minded head coach with familiarity, who's had a good proven track record as a defensive coordinator, I think it's a good hire. You have Jeff Hafley, who is the Packers defensive coordinator, replacing Mike McDaniels now as the Dolphins head coach. And Mike McDaniels, to a lot of reports, were one of the Eagles' top targets as their new offensive coordinator. Myself, don't get me wrong, I think Mike McDaniel has a really good offensive mind, very creative, very inventive. I just don't think he would have meshed with Jalen Hurts and what the Eagles want to ultimately do. Not to mention, I don't think he's really that interested in the Eagles OC job and probably wants to stay in the warm weather and, you know, coach a player like Justin Herbert. So it's looking more and more like he's going to be the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. Then you have the 49ers defensive coordinator Robert Saleh going to be the Titans head coach, which is really strange. I figured the Titans would want more of an offensive mind given it where they're at, but Robert Saleh is going to do a good job. Now, there's still 5 head coaching opportunities out there. You have the Cardinals, the Browns, the Raiders, the Bills, and the Steelers. Now, the Steelers look like they might be linked to Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator. The Rams are still in play, so obviously they can't announce anything yet. And there's still some interesting names out on the board left. And look, my Eagles, we're looking for an OC, but there is head coaching opportunities. The good thing is the Browns, the Raiders, the Cardinals, not super attractive, but they are head coaching opportunities. So you kind of got to weigh that. And also, the Bills and the Steelers have a good organization. The Bills, you have Josh Allen. Like, you're competing with those really, really attractive head coaching openings. Now, there are some interesting names still out there. There's Brian Daboll, previous head coach of the New York Giants. There's Mike Kafka. There's Jim Bob Cooter, who is the Colts offensive coordinator. I know he didn't really call many of the plays. Shane Steichen kind of did that, but it was still an inventive offense. There's Joe Brady, the Bills offensive coordinator, the guy that was upstairs in the booth always throwing a temper tantrum. He's still in play. He might be the Bills head coach. We'll have to see if he gets promoted. And then one of my personal favorites that's still out there, at least from an Eagles fan looking for an OC, is Todd Monken, the previous Ravens offensive coordinator. Now, he might follow John Harbaugh to be the Giants OC, which I hope doesn't happen. He might also be in play for the Browns head coaching job. I personally, as an Eagles fan, would love Todd Monken as an Eagles OC. I think it would just work really well with Jalen Hurts and what we want to do. But he's out there as well. So, a lot of openings available, a lot of candidates still available. It's that fun time of the year. But now, let's talk football. First up, the New England Patriots at the Denver Broncos. Now, originally, the Denver Broncos were a 1.5-point favorite at home. Basically, that means Vegas was saying, yeah, we got no idea. But ever since news broke that Bo Nix is injured, will not be playing in this game, the New England Patriots now are 5-point favorites. So it shifted like 6 points. Now, I refuse to believe that the Broncos are done. I mean, come on, they got a really good defense. They're at home. I know the quarterback is a really important position, but it's one player on the field. I mean, the Broncos will be going to, let me make sure I get this right, Jarrett Stidham. Stidham? Stidham. Yeah, the Broncos are fucked. Now, look, in all seriousness, on one hand, you have the quarterback who has been through the entire season. All right. He's gotten to experience chemistry with his receivers and hearing the play calls in his helmet and just week in and week out, play in and play out, get comfortable in the scheme, get comfortable with the people around him. And now you don't have that. That means something. That means something. On the other hand, if I might play the good cop in this, Bo Nix was not this all-worldly quarterback. He was not this like transcending, like, oh my God, he's having an MVP season. He wasn't. You guys are basically carried by your defense and some timely plays at the end of games to win those games. Credit to you. But it's not like you lost this like MVP quarterback. And now the Patriots have no fucking idea what to expect. I mean, think about it. If Sean Payton is a smart coach, and I believe he is, he's not going to sit there and bring out Jared Stidham and make him run the same offense that Bo Nix was good at. All right, you're going to sit there and you should tailor the offense to your quarterback's strengths. And if that's the case, the Patriots might not know what the hell offense is coming at them. So you could catch them by surprise. I'm trying here. Here's another reason why the Broncos do have a chance. See, the Patriots have been really good lately at getting to the passer, especially in the playoffs. Though I'll admit, playing the Chargers does help. But the Broncos actually have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, ranking among the top. So if you give this quarterback, he's been in the NFL 7 years. You don't just stay in the NFL for 7 years without being good. You know, unless you're Josh Johnson. I know he beat my Eagles. Shut up. Look, both defenses are good. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. And if it's a very, very low-scoring game, that gives the Broncos a chance. Look, if we're 8 minutes left in the game, and it's a very, very tight game, watch out, New England. And that's how the Broncos need it to be. Unfortunately, the Broncos' margin of error just got a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller, and that's not what you want going into such a big game. So I'm going to take the Patriots. Do the Patriots cover the 5 points? Yes, I do think they cover the 5 points because if it's a tight game, I think the Broncos are in play. If it's a tight game, I think the Broncos are going to win. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be super, super tight. I think the Patriots are going to win by like 7 or more points. So I guess that's a 1-score game if it's 7 points. I get it. But I'm going to take the Patriots to win, cover the 5 points or 5.5, whatever the spread is, and move on to the Super Bowl. Now we get Rams and Seahawks. Rams take on the Seahawks for the 3rd time, and the other 2 times, it was classic. I'm expecting nothing less than an absolute amazing game. Winner goes to Super Bowl, division rivals. It's gonna be amazing. I'm really glad the NFL put this as the later game. There was a time I thought the Rams would win this game. I would have no issues picking the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. Thought they were the best team in the league at one point. Absolutely would have picked them in this game. The way they've been playing lately, look, they almost got beat by the Panthers in the playoffs. They almost got beat by Chicago in the playoffs. Their last, say, third of the regular season was not too impressive. They did get beat by the Panthers. They did get beat by the Falcons. The Rams have not been playing their best football down the stretch. They've been eking by these games. The Seahawks come into this game with all the confidence in the world. They just absolutely boat raced the 49ers. Not only that, they are one missed field goal away from sweeping the Rams in the regular season. One missed field goal away from sweeping them. Now, the Rams will tell you they're one pickup of the football away from sweeping the Seahawks in the season series. So, I mean, this game has been amazing. Both times have been played. I expect it to be amazing again. Both teams are capable. Matthew Stafford with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. You got freaking Sean McVay and that offensive mastermind at work. On the other hand, you got the Seahawks with that incredible defense. The Seahawks running back Zach Charbonnet being out, that's something. That's something. That guy is a hard-ass runner. Now, they still have Kenneth Walker, who's their top back, but Charbonnet really did provide, along with Walker, that really, really good 1-2 punch, man. The defense is going to do their thing. The running game is going to do their thing, but I think Sam Darnold is going to have a good game. I don't think he's going to be able to get by with just getting carried or having a middling game. I think he's going to have to step up and have a good game. I know there's a lot of jokes about Sam Darnold out there. I get it, but I do think he'll do enough and he'll have a good game to get by the Rams. And if I'm right, guys, it'll be Seahawks versus Patriots. I went 4 for 4 in the divisional round. Let's see if I go 2 for 2 in the championship round. Now, my ultimate prediction was the Jaguars taking on the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Jaguars got eliminated first round. What do? So my prediction was already out after 1 week of the playoffs. But my prediction for this week, Seahawks, Patriots. Tell me what you think in the comments below. And that's it. This was the championship edition of the Tailgate Talkers Podcast. Again, I am your host, Justin. And we have one more show getting ready for the Super Bowl next week. Take care, y'all. But before we review, my Lord.